when you're on your way to the parts store to pick up parts for other projects and you realize what you're driving may be a bigger project than what you're going to get parts for.
I'd say it's a nut job.
So I daily drive all my old junk, and the ramp truck is no exception. I drive it like it's a car. And today, on the way to the store to get parts for other cars, I stopped at the red light, pushed the clutch to the floor, and that was it. It just right to the floor. So upon investigating, this is what the clutch rod is supposed to look like, and this is the side that's on the Z-bar. If you'll notice, this was the side that was on the pedal. There's the other piece. So since I'm sitting on the side of the road, we're going to have to get ingenious and do some MacGyver shit to get home. I will show you what I got in mind, but it appears that I'm going to have to take a walk about a mile or so down the road to the hardware store to try to shop around and see what's laying around. The odds of anybody having this bar in stock is slim to none. I can order one online, but that doesn't do you any good sitting on the side of the road. So I've got an idea to try to make this home. It may work and it may not work, but we'll find out together. So my idea is I'm going to walk to the hardware store. Now, hear me out on this. I know it doesn't sound like it'll work, but I think it will. Because this is a pull system. It's not a push rod, it's a pull rod. That's the key to this situation. I'm going to go in the hardware store and get me a piece of chain. And hook one in on my pedal and one in on that Z-bar down there. Since it's a pull system, that should work. And it has a spring on it to keep pressure on it. And we're going to see if that'll make us home. You'll be along for the ride. Let's find out. I want to say, looking at the end of this bar, if I can get it around here and get it to focus, you can see an obvious difference in color between about halfway over. So I think this bar was cracked and fractured on the end for a long time, and it finally just broke the tip off. Judging by the way the other side looks, again, if I can get this thing to focus, it is almost worn in two right there. So this needed to be done anyway. One of those things you don't really think about till you have to think about it. I've once overed this truck before I brought it home, and I didn't see anything wrong, but again, I didn't exactly crawl under the dash and look for a fracture in the Z-bar or the rod going to the Z-bar. So, you know, that's something you don't think about. Let me find the camera here. You can see on this as well the two different colors. This thing was obviously fractured for a long time. Guys, in situations like this, there's no reason to get upset. There's no reason to get mad. There's no reason to get flustered. All you can do is just repair it. It's a 40-year-old, 45-year-old, 46-year-old truck. And all you can do is what you can do, you know? And we'll eventually get her straightened out and be back on the road. Just give us a few minutes and I got to get to the hardware store. So we're back. After a run to the hardware store, that's what I come up with. Some chain and a couple of little rings. Chain's a little smaller diameter than that. The rings are about the same size. So again, this is a pull system, so I should be able to make this function enough to get me home. All right. As you can see, now I have a chain running through the floorboard, attached on both ends. Seems like it's going to work. We ain't going to know till we hit the clutch pedal, so I'm going to pick up my tools, chunk them in the passenger side floorboard over here, because I'm not going to take the time to put them up right now, because I may need them again in a minute. And we're going to see if we can make it to the house. All right, guys, she's running, clutch in, gear with no grinding, and the ease up. Hell, it's got a buried clutch in its head before. Let's get to the house. Well, guys, we're about halfway home, and so far, to be perfectly honest, I think it's got a little better clutch it's had before. And again, it's probably because that bar had been tweaked a little bit and was already cracked, so it's probably wouldn't get a full stroke on it anyway. So yeah, it's holding in there and zero issues. It's working great. There it is, working like a charm. Made it home. Hey, I know I didn't go into a lot of details on how I done it, but honestly, I'm sitting on the side of the road by myself, and you know, I just kind of had to get it done. I was sitting on the side of a busy highway, so I needed to just get it done and get out from there. And I'll try to show you a little bit of it now. I will say my adjustment on my pedal is a little weird because it's way up high now, but it doesn't matter. It got us home. Again, this will only work if you have a pull style Z-bar. If you've got the push style, like say the Galaxy does, it ain't gonna work. And the way you know which you have, just by looking, if the rod goes straight down through the floor, it's pulling. If it goes out through the firewall, it's pushing. It's as simple as that. Looking at this rod, it obviously was on its last leg anyway, and the clutch feels better than it's ever felt. So I'm gonna say that it was probably had a hairline crack or something in it for a long time, and it bent a little bit, so you wasn't getting a full stroke out of it. Just some of the things that happens in daily life of driving old stuff. And I do, guys. I drive this old truck every day. If I'm not driving this, I'm, you know, rotating between this or the 68 wagon or 67 Cougar. We have a modern truck. You've seen it, the F-150 we got, but honestly, my wife drives it out and back to work most of the time, and I'm not into the modern car game. I don't just show people stuff on these, and I don't just talk about these. I live it. This is everyday life for me. So you got to kind of have a little MacGyver in you to do this all the time, because things are going to happen eventually, and a lot of times there's going to be something on or apparently speech is a problem too. Things are going to happen all the time, and sometimes they're going to be unorthodox, and you're just going to have to make it work. You're just going to have to kind of MacGyver yourself out of the situation, and that's what we've done here today. Let me show you a little closer look at what I got. You can see I knocked my cover off my clutch pedal. It's laying right there, but you can see the clutch pedal is a little higher than the brake pedal, about the thickness of my foot there. It is what it is, but you can see the chain right there coming up out of the floor. It attaches to this pedal has a bar that goes all the way across. It doesn't drop straight down below it. It has a rod that goes all the way across, and it drops down through the floor. That's how these are made. So let me get you in here closer so you can actually see what's going on here. It's a piece of chain, good and taut. I can get up in here so you can see it. This runs to a clasp right there on the pivot point. Runs down, and behind the carpet here, you can see maybe, hold on, let me get everything out of the way. You can see it just drops through a hole right there in the floor. Right there. Dropped it straight through the floor and attached it to the Z-bar. It's just a straight piece of chain. And then of course you can move the little, it's not a D-ring, the little clasp. You can move it up and down one link, whichever way you need to go, and you can get through the situation that way. Works great for a temporary solution. The other end of it is pretty much exactly the same. It's the other end of it has a clasp like that. It's on the Z-bar pivot, so it's basically the same thing. The point of this video is more or less to tell you that things happen, and don't allow yourself to get so frustrated in the moment that you can't process through it. I know that happens. I know a lot of times it happens where you just kind of mentally lock down, like, oh man, it's broke. Now I'm just sitting here, I'm stuck. What am I going to do? But listen, stop and think about the process. Everything on a vehicle has a process. A certain thing moves a certain way, and it has to go at a certain angle or whatever the case may be. Think about it and then look at your environment around you and go, what can I get that I have in front of me that can recreate this process? This, whatever your solution is, it doesn't have to last a lifetime. It has to last whatever the distance is that you need to get to wherever you need to get to be safe. Now, some people out there are probably looking at it thinking it's the dumbest idea ever. Other people are probably looking at it going, why is that a temporary solution? Well, I just leave it that way. It will stay that way until I get a new rod in, but I'm going to order the new rod right now. And the reason I'm not going to permanently leave it this way, even though this does work well, is no matter how slim the possibility is, my head tells me that it would be possible for something to get in one of those links and kind of jam your clutch up so you couldn't hit the clutch pedal. You know, it would be hard. It would hit something, you wouldn't be able to hit it. And the problem with that, honestly, is you don't know that that's a problem till, you know, somebody pulls out in front of you and you have to hit the brakes real quick or something, and you go to step on the clutch and you can't get the clutch in, and you can't get it knocked out of gear fast enough or something, and you cause an accident. So while this will probably stay on there for a few days, I am going to dig around online right now and find me a new rod and get it on the way so that this can be fixed properly and be back rolling again. Well, I'm gonna be rolling anyway, but an advantage is I know that's there, so I do tend to the whole time kind of glance down there at it to make sure everything looks like it's moving smooth. Thankfully, the hole in the floorboard forward kind of went oversized on it and had put a rubber grommet in there. It's got a big old hole in the floor for a little tiny rod to go through, and then they had a rubber grommet around it like a little boot. I just popped that grommet out, so now I have that big hole, and the chain actually rides right dead in the center of that hole, so it doesn't touch the floor. So yeah, it works. How long will it last? I know it's not going to last long for me because I'm going to change it, but I don't know. Got to think your ways out of situations, guys. Again, this is a video I wasn't planning on making. I just seen the opportunity to maybe throw something out there that if somebody gets in this situation, they can think outside the box a little bit and come up with it. Again, this only works if you got a pull style. If you got a push style, you're going to have to find something solid. A piece of flat bar and drill 2 holes in it and run a bolt nut through it. A piece of threaded rod and just bend the ends around. Now, again, I'm talking about temporary to get you home or to a near shop or whatever. Even anything that you could find that is stiff and doesn't move. That's what you would have to use for that. And then you would have to kind of guess about your spot, you know. But you'd have to do something stiff so that it could push. This, I'm fortunate enough that honestly I could probably use a piece of rope and probably could have made it work, but I would have been worried about it sawing it into, you know, constantly moving on that thing. This with a little clasp on the ends, that little pin rolls in it, so it gives me a little bit better there. Now, if you got a hydraulic clutch and you blow a hydraulic line, you're pretty much boned. You know, old school keeps it simple, man. The old cars are very simple machines, and you can pretty much guarantee no matter what happens, you can figure out a way very easily to get it home. They're simply designed. There. We do have shirts in stock, as I said in the last video. You'll have to go back and watch the last video. I had photos of the shirt, and also they got the Galaxy on them, and on the front it says run your car, not your mouth. But I put the link in the description of the last video I done where we went and looked through that old race car junkyard, and you can go over there and drop down and grab you a shirt if you want one. We appreciate everyone that subscribes, likes, shares, comments. It allows me to keep these old things running. Allows me to go in there and buy a new push rod for the clutch. God bless you guys. I hope the Lord bless you more today than he did yesterday. To him be all the glory. We'll see you on the next one where, you know, hopefully it's not sitting on the side of the road again.
say it's a nut job.